Kinda reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog, yung vibe.
The Pikachu of it all.
Wait lang. That's not the engine.
The radius is really good.
This whole thing is a giant power bank.
Hindi nga, no joke. The design is very human nga. Legit.
It's a don't touch your mechanic fluid.
So literal, when you go home, just plug it in like a cell phone and then tomorrow you're good to go na agad.
I'm just talking and if you're still watching, what the frick are you doing with your life? Okay guys, so for today's video, we'll be doing our first ever EV review. So today, we're with the 2024 Ioniq 5. This is in the color Gravity Gold Metallic. So, let's check it out. Okay, so before we start looking at it, this is the key. Ayan. So, we have remote start. Since it's a bit warm, let's remote start it. So, click lock and press hold. Ayan. And then look at those vents. Ayan, for the airflow. Very cool. Ayan. So, now it's quote-unquote idling. So we can tell na it's on because you can hear the fans, but other than that, there's no actual idling thing that's going on. So starting with the front fascia, here we get a really beautiful clamshell hood with a big Hyundai logo up in front. We also have LED headlights, and would you believe, LED bumper. Here we get our beautiful DRL, and look, our bumper is actually illuminated. And I love it. It looks very clean and very sleek. Now moving to the side, it's actually a big boy. Ayan. Looks really good. I love the silhouette and the lines. It just works so well together. Okay, as for the wheels, we have a 20-inch fractal alloy wheel wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport EV. So this is the specific tire designed by Michelin for EVs because EVs are heavy. So this is in the size 255 45/20s. Ayan, for the big heavy boy. Also, I want to point out, ang ganda itong fender flare thing. It looks like a slotted brake rotor type of look. Ang ganda, mukha siyang aero. Very aero looking. Kinda reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog, yung vibe. Okay, now moving on, we have power fold, power adjust side mirrors with camera and repeater. So one thing I love about the Ioniq 5 is everything is matte. Ang dali niya to keep clean, and actually hindi halata na madumi siya. Actually, before doing this walk around, we did a car wash. Pero parang walang nangyari. It looks the same. Ito na tayo sa gas cap. Well, what do you call this? Fuel gate. So, it's either you use the key to unlock it, or you press on this pixel thing. Ayan. So, this is our charging port, and you will see this loading thing to show you how much you're charging. And to close the gas door or recharge door is just this button. Yarn. So baka akala nyo this is like some touch haptic thing na high-tech. If you push this, yung aangat yung gas door. But no, actually meron lang siya dito, little pin that presses the close button also. So yeah, wala lang. Fun fact. Now moving on to the rear, the first noticeable thing is our pixel tail lights that runs across the whole entire rear. We get the white Ioniq badge over here. Of course, our Hyundai logo. Also, we have a power tailgate. Ayan, let's open it. Boop. Ayan, very nice. The rear is quite spacious. We have a 60-40 split fold na second row. What's nice is, ayan, you notice na hindi siya pantay. So, yes, the second row is reclinable. Dito pa lang, alam mo nang reclinable siya. So, more on that later. So, since we have a lot of EV components down here, the trunk is pretty high. There's not much of a lip. So, yeah, you can sit comfortably. Ayan. And look at my headroom for tambay. Pretty good. Ayan ang press ko. Okay, so this is what it looks like when the seats are folded down. Quite spacious, so you can really bring a lot of stuff. Siguro mga mga 10 chinis na patong-patong na nakahiga. Kasya dyan. Slay! Okay, so as for stuff here at the back, we get a 12-volt socket over here. And underneath, we get our accessories. So we have our home charger here. We also have a tire mobility kit. So here we get the repair kit and a tire inflator. And if we open it up, we get our early warning device here. And we also get this very interesting thing over here. So this is called the V2L, vehicle to load. So what this is you can plug household item or regular AC plug, so you can charge your laptop or your phone or whatever. Dalagay mo siya dito. So it goes in like this over here, and you can charge stuff. So effectively, if we use this whole thing is a giant power bank. Amazing! To those who are wondering, ito, kaya niya i-power up to 16 amps na electronics. So definitely, most of the stuff you need to charge. And lastly, our two hooks are over here. Ayan, so pretty good. Also pala, before I forget, over here we have our emergency EV. Yung pag yung charger mo, hindi mo matanggal. Ito yung quick release. So you just have to yank this. So mahaba siya i-yank. And then it's gonna release the charger. So FYI lang. Okay, so I was about to say, ang cool, meron kang parang trunk lights para when you're doing something here at the rear. Pero apparently, this is the plate number light. Ayan, so kasama siya dun sa assembly na to. So it's nice, it's additional visibility at night so people know your hair, So it's nice to have this kasi it's additional visibility at night so people know you're here. Ayan, and then again, power tailgate. Let's close this and move on to the interior. Ayan, spaceship. Okay, before moving on, I just want to point out, I really love the retro modern styling that they did with the Ioniq 5. The pixel taillights talaga, they're so pretty. Well, I just want to say, I've been listening to retro wave music, driving home to Skyway, and then you're in this. It's such a vibe, very retro modern aesthetics. Okay, before we proceed to the interior, let's look at what's under the bonnet. So under the bonnet, we get a 200 horsepower, 300 Newton meter. Wait lang. That's not the engine. Oh yeah, we get castrats. But that's not the engine. This is actually a frunk. Ayan, for non-sports car people, it's the front trunk. Frunk. So, pardon my EV ignorance. I don't really know what we're looking at, but we're gonna try our best. So, over here we have some fluids. It looks like it's a don't touch your mechanic fluid. And this one, it looks like a don't touch your radiator fluid. Ito, alam ko to. This is a windshield washer fluid. What's in there? What's this thing with fins? Is it a cooler? I'm lost. Now, moving on to the right side. Ayan. So yes, EVs still do have auxiliary batteries. So for the auxiliary stuff, ayan. Here we have our brake fluid and our ABS module is over there. And here we have our fuse box, and that's all that I could recognize. And also, look, our diagnostic port is here, so very easy to reach. And look, the chassis looks so stiff. Ayan, the strut towers are already OEM tied together. Very nice. Look at that stiff boy. Stiff, big, heavy boy. And also, ayan, sa taas, we don't have insulation kasi this place doesn't get hot. And look at their attempt at lightening. Oh, ayan. Okay, now moving on to the interior. Let's go. Okay, so I turned the car back off again to show you. So this is keyless entry. Ayan. Boop. Hidden door handles. Power side mirror. And then you just pull this and boom. Ayan. Look at that white interior. So pretty. Okay, while we're here, let's start with the stuff on the door. So all our side mirror controls are over here. Lock, unlock. And our windows. We also get memory seats, a bottle holder, cubby holder. Tsaka, I just want to point out, ang interesting dito sa the way the doors upholstered kasi meron kang space dito. So, this is technically a cubby pa, pero hindi siya ganun kahalata. So, for the Ioniq 5, ayan, we get white seats. All of this is renewable material. What's crazy is, tingnan mo, meron kang ottoman. So, kunyari, when you're waiting for your car to charge, you wanna sleep in the car, relax. Very cool. Ayun, ang tagal niya bumaba. Oh my God. Also, there's something I usually forget to do. Ayan, look at the pedals. I love the pattern. And I also love how humongous your left foot rest is. Ayan. Okay, now let's get in. Alright. Ugh. So this is what it looks like. Let's start it up. So press on the brake. EV start stop. Ayan, this is what it looks like. So the aircon automatically turns on. Ayan, ready to drive na daw siya. Okay, starting with the steering wheel. Ayan, it looks very good. So our infotainment controls are over here. Our cruise control and info stuff is over here. And notice there's no Hyundai logo dito sa gitna. So, fun fact, walang H logo, diba? So, this 4 dots actually mean H in Morse code. So, that's pretty cool. Very minimalistic. Ayan. So, hindi overly branded ang look. I like that. So, here we get the 12.3-inch instrument cluster. Ayan. And we get a lot of info dito. So, we have our charging info, our consumption info. Ayan. Drive info. So, we get our predictive range over here. And here on the side, we have our battery percentage. Beside it is the level of regenerative braking. Ayan. Very interesting. So, I like na naka-bar siya. So, ito yung ating speedometer. And this one is our power. And you can see it regenning here. Very cool. Another interesting thing is nasaan ang ating shifter. So you're probably wondering where a shifter is because it's definitely not here. It's not here. It's actually over here. So usually, di ba, pwesto to ng mga cruise control before, but this is actually our shifter. So to get it to drive, you have to do this. So now we're in drive, neutral, reverse, and then when you put it in reverse, our 360 camera shows up over here. So, ayan, very nice. And to park it, you have to press P over here. So, it takes some getting used to, but very ergonomic. So, now you're wondering, where is the parking brake? Where's the handbrake? It's actually over here. So, here we have our parking button, parking brake, parking lever. We also have auto hold. Then we have our power tailgate over here, our tailgate control and traction off. And here we have our headlight level control over here. As for our aircon vents, ayan, very nice. Very integrated to the dashboard. Fun fact, you see this pad? It's actually magnetic. So, here's a house magnet to show you it's magnetic. Bloop. Ayan, you can leave our little whale over there. Chill ka muna dyan. Very cute. So, I guess you can put your photo cards or whatever. Pwede mo i-magnet yung stuff dyan. So, going back to our infotainment system, this is a 12.3-inch. So, this is Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatible. Meron kang seat ventilation. So, you can make it super hot. Or you can also adjust the level, make it super cool. So, very nice. Actually, I get to use this a lot kasi pag morning sobrang init and then pag gabi ginawin ako. So, it's very perfect. And other than that, we can also control and customize our mood lights. So right now, it's set to pink. So right now, it's pink. Let's set it to blue. Ayan. Now it's blue. So this looks way better at night. So insert the clip here of the night version. Now, moving on to our aircon controls. Ayan. It's very nice. It's a whole panel. It's very responsive. And our EV starts up button is right over here. Very hard to miss. Our hazard button is smack dab in the middle, so you also can't miss it. So one thing I like about EVs is walang big transmission and drivetrain stuff sa gitna. So you got so much space here. Ayan. We also get a cubby here. Oh, tingnan mo. So this is where we plug in our data cable for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay na wired. Pwede rin naman the Bluetooth. We also get here a 12-volt power socket. And I really love this cubby. Tingnan mo, sobrang luwag. Here, phone for scale. It's really big. Like, I can put a bigger than a venti here. Okay, now moving on to our very interesting looking center island. So, pakita ko na sa inyo yung pinaka-quirk nito. So, this one, it's a dynamic center island. Kasi look at this, you can actually move it. So, imagine, pwede na ako tumuwid sa passenger seat agad just like that. Okay, let's put it back muna. So, over here, we got 2 cup holders. We also get 2 USB sockets over here. And we also get, wait, let me get my phone so I can show you. We also get a wireless charging pad. So just slide your phone in here. And when it's orange, you know it's charging. So spacious. Pag tinaas mo pa yung armrest mo, ayan, very, very spacious. You can actually put your bag here. So ako, I put my handbag here. Kasi minsan nailang ako or masyado siya malayo to reach stuff when I put my handbag here. And it's pretty secure. Tsaka hindi siya kita kung iiwan mo lang siya. Okay, now moving on to our armrest. We get the storage unit over here. Ayan, you can store your phones. Actually, hindi siya halata na storage unit. And then you can lift the whole thing up for more space. Very nice. Okay, here's something we rarely get to do. punta tayo sa passenger side. So, all we have to do is move this back and then put the armrest up. Tapos, I'm just gonna scoot my way over to the passenger side. Just like that, for passenger princess na. Grabe naman. So, this is what the driver's side looks like from here. Baba natin yung armrest. Just put it back to normal configuration. Ayan, just like that. Lipat ka lang dito and then you can force your friend to drive you na. Kasi wala silang no choice. Okay, one quirky thing pa here sa passenger side is actually the glove box. So, usually when you open the glove box, it's gonna drop down, right? So, for this one, it doesn't work like that. So, when you grab it, it's actually a drawer type. And very cool. Look, the storage space is actually quite deep, oh. Ayan, so marami kang malalagay dyan. So, what's nice is the passenger side is also power seats and it's also ventilated and heated. So, equal lang sa driver. Ganon. Okay, let's scoot back to the driver side. Ayan, let me just show you, diba? Ang dali lang. Tingnan mo, I'm back to the driver seat just like that. Crazy. Okay, now for the Chini test. Meron bang ilaw ang visor? So, yes, there is. The light is over here. It's independent of the mirror. I like that. Ayan, so I can do my makeup here. Okay, moving on to the center. Ayan, we get this really beautiful lighting unit. Oop. So, ito. Poop. Ayan. Ang sarap, soft touch. So, if you wanna turn on the lights, pati sa likod, very beautiful. And then this one, kung gusto mo kasabay siya ng door. Tapos, we get a really big panoramic sunroof, which Hyundai calls Envision. So, let's open up the sunroof. Ayan, let me point it there na. Ayan, look at that. It opens from the middle. And look how spacious. Ayan, sobrang aliwalas na ng car. Ang galing. Just like that. Okay, now let's move on to the second row. So, as to space, ayan, it's quite spacious. And ingress is very easy. Ayan o. Just slide in. Super comfy. Ayan, so I get a lot of leg room. So this is my usual driving position. And look at my knee room. And headroom, okay naman. It's quite ample. So starting with the door, ayan, very spacious. And again, this is a medyo hidden cubby of sorts. We got a bottle holder, cubby holder, window controls. Ayan, kita ng ating mood light dito. So what's interesting about this is we get rear aircon vents. Usually they'd be here, right? But for the Ioniq 5, it's actually here. Ayan, so I get a dedicated rear aircon vent just for me. So for the VIPs here at the back, you also get a sunshade. Ayan. Sunshade. So if you wanna not see the sun, slay. Up top, we get our lights. Ayan. Very easy to operate. We get a little hook over here. And here behind the driver's side, we get a cubby net thing. And we also get two type A sockets and more cubby space. So while charging, you can just kind of leave your phone over there. Oh. Ayan, so my phone is just, ayan, I can just leave my phone there charging. So this is not wireless, by the way. Pero I'm just saying there's a cubby to put the stuff you're charging in. As for center armrest, we get this. Ayan, pull tab. Two cup holders. Very nice. Very relaxing dito sa likod. Lalo na with the panoramic sunroof open. Look. So aliwala, so relaxing. I'd love to daily this. I love to daily drive the Ioniq 5. But also, I'd love to be chauffeured in one. So yeah. Alright, that's it for our walk around. Now let's get to the driving part. Tara, let's go driving! Okay, let's go. Okay guys, so if you like this video so far, like, comment, subscribe, or you can also follow us on our other socials. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So let's get to it. So first, our driving position. This is power adjust seats. And the steering is tilt and telescopic. So very easy to find your driving position. It feels like you sit higher kasi the battery is underneath us. Kasi diba sa ICE cars usually, parang we sit on the chassis na. Ito parang may elevation pa konti. So it's just a little thing to get used to. So when I first looked at the car, my first impression was like, oh my god, it's wide. So honestly, I thought na medyo may ilang ako driving it around Philippine roads. But once I hopped in, you don't really feel the width. It's surprisingly easy to drive and maneuver around. One thing that's been really helpful is when you signal, like now, it actually breaks out the camera underneath the side mirror so you can really see
your blind spot. So it's not really a blind spot anymore. So you can see where the gutter is specifically. So kahit the white siya, I know exactly where the car is. And to add to that, the steering radius is actually really good. So even if you have to turn in late kasi kinakabahan ka sa wideness ng car, hindi ka kukulangin sa steering angle. So sa mga drive-thru, sa mga U-turn, it's really nothing to worry about. And syempre, when we reverse or when we have to park, the 360 camera is also there to help you. Oops, I turned in too late, but it doesn't matter. Turn radius is really good. Now moving on to the engine and the how am I supposed to say it? It's an EV eh. Now moving on to the power plant. Can I say that? So let's move on to the power plant. The propulsion device. The go forward mechanism. The Pikachu of it all. The torque is very instant. Like very instant. Isipin mo pa lang, nandun ka na. Actually, nakaka-addict to have this much power on demand. It's only when you reach 100 kilometers per hour na you realize, oo nga, it's only 200-ish horsepower. It's only when you reach 80 to 100 kilometers where an ICE engine of more horsepower will start walking away from the Ioniq 5. But 0 to 80, it's hard to actually count how many cars can keep up with this. Now, on to the transmission. Well, do EVs really have transmissions? Let's just talk about the regenerative braking na lang. So for those of you who don't know, regen braking is when an EV uses the electric motor in reverse, so you use the engine to slow down. So instead of the battery spinning the motor, you're using the motor to charge the battery. So in reverse, diba? So the Ioniq 5 actually has 5 regen braking modes depending on your preference. So I'm discussing it as if we're discussing transmission kasi look, you control it with paddle shifters. So this is your regen braking shifters, I guess. Noong una, I was confused, bakit paddle shifters yung controls? And then it made sense after driving it for a while. So imagine, di ba sa ICE engine, the lower your gear, the more the engine braking, and then the higher you go, the less engine braking there is. So when you click on the right pedal, it decreases the regenerative braking. So more free-wheeling, free-spinning, higher gear. Parang yun ang vibes niya. Pag dito naman sa kabila, parang nagda-downshift kasi there's more engine braking. So simulating a lower gear. So that's actually pretty clever. I can see how it feels second nature to us ICE users. The design is very human. Hindi nga, no joke. The design is very human nga. Legit. So in zero regen mode, so that's when you're max to the right. So now we're in zero, I'm off the gas and we're still, parang naka-neutral. Parang you're coasting in neutral. That's the vibe. So zero engine braking at all. And when you go to level 1, ayan, so when you lift off, parang it feels like it's giving CVT vibes. This is the level I would recommend to first-time Ioniq 5 users. When you lift off, there's some engine braking, and then when you put your foot down, you go forward. And as you get higher with the level of regen modes, kunyari, level 3, parang kang naka-first gear. When you lift off, there's actually a lot of engine braking, regen braking, I mean. Now, when you lift off the throttle, parang napapaganon ka. Engine braking. But regen braking. And now we go to the last level, or the most stupid of them all. It's called the I-pedal. So, ito na yung pinaka-max ng left. So, this is the most regen braking that the car can go. Dito, the regen braking is so strong na you barely have to use the brake pedal on your daily drive. So, if I lift off, we're gonna really slow down. So, you really control your throttle. Parang ano na siya, tawag dito? Parang gano'n na siya. Knob. And this is also called one-pedal mode. So, you just really use one pedal to slow down and accelerate. Only in an emergency braking situation will I need to actually go on the actual brake pedal. So, this is my favorite regen mode kasi other than you only need to use one pedal, it's also the most efficient. So, every time you slow down, you regenerate that energy back to the battery. Like right now. And there's actually a gauge here na it looks like a game. So, you try to keep it at regen always. And you see your range going up. Nakakatuwa. Parang naglalaro. And that's the one thing the ICE engines can't do. Kasi after accelerating in an ICE engine, there's no way to get that energy back. Whew, that was a long explanation. Now, moving on to the brakes. It's a very short explanation. I never got to use it much. Kasi naka-i-pedal nga tayo. On an EV, the brakes are actually a little more vague than what you get in an ICE engine car. Kasi when you press on the brakes, there's also some regen braking na sumasabay from the electric motor. At first, I thought this lack of razor-sharp preciseness would bother me. But the way Hyundai implemented the brakes here, I don't mind it at all. I surprisingly am still able to brake exactly the way that I want to, even if the feel is slightly muddied by the regen braking. Like I'd given it a good score, good brakes, good brakes. Now on to the suspension. Thanks to EVs weighing more than your average ICE cars, the suspension is actually very comfortable. But at the same time, since the center of gravity is very low, and add that to the mad suspension scientists at Hyundai, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 handles all that weight extremely well. Now we can't cheat physics, a heavy car is physically heavier. So during our enthusiastic driving test, the limit and threshold of grip isn't exactly high, but that's not to say it doesn't handle well. The chassis responds to inputs quickly, and note that this car is rear-wheel drive. And I'm happy to report the suspension is actually tuned for rear-wheel drive layout. When cornering, the rear actually actively tries to help rotate the car, but the stability control kicks in just right before things get hairy. TLDR suspension tuning is really good. I wouldn't ask for more. There's barely any understeer and it's a hoot to drive in corners. Yun nga lang, leave more room for braking kasi heavy car is a heavy boy. We cannot make diet physics and we cannot make diet the car. And now for the most awaited part, range. Range against the machines. Or should I say range against the kilometers. So first off, Hyundai's claim for range is 451 kilometers. So we won't really be able to test that out completely, but based on our estimates, the way it consumes power based on our daily Quezon City traffic drive, 400 kilometers is a realistic range even in heavy Philippine traffic. Actually, pati ako nga gulat na ganun kahaba yung range eh. As for some charging figures, we were able to try out SM 7 kilowatt charger that's currently free. And it took us 6 hours to get from 50% to 95%. But take note that after 85%, the battery goes into trickle charge mode. So getting to 85 is actually mabilis. It's the 85 to 95 that actually took a while. Sadly, I got too distracted from shopping in the mall na we didn't really get to check when it actually hit 85. But yeah, so that's actually the raw data of what actually happened when we charged it. And I actually made a TikTok of when we did a whole day's worth of errands with the car and we measured how much battery we consumed. You can watch the specifics there on TikTok, but here's the summary. So on that day, we went to Fairview, then to Estancia, then to MOA, and back to Quezon City. So in total that day, we traveled 72.6 kilometers and the car was on for 245 minutes. So that's 4 hours and 5 minutes of the car being on. And we started the day at 92%. And when we ended our day, the car was at 77%. So we only consumed 15% of the battery for the whole day. And mind you, there's a lot of traffic dun sa araw na yun. Like, we really got stuck in traffic. So that's pretty sulit. So if we compute, 15% of the total battery capacity of the car is around 11 kilowatts. So let's say 13 pesos per kilowatt yung kuryente sa bahay. We only really use 143 pesos of electricity for the whole day. So that's 73 kilometers and 4 hours of driving for only 143 pesos. So ano yun full aircon and in traffic yan. And even if we use the portable charger, which can charge up to 12 amps, so that's like a 2.6 kilowatt charger. So you can recharge that amount of energy in 4.5 hours. So literal, when you go home, just plug it in like a cell phone and then tomorrow you're good to go na agad. And that's without even using the one that Hyundai provides you when you get an Ioniq 5, which is roughly a 7 kilowatt charger. So literal, you only need a power outlet in the garage and range anxiety who? So the Ioniq 5 is actually my first ever EV review and I couldn't have asked for a better benchmark than World Car of the Year 2021 awardee. Like, this really makes me question ICE ownership. As a car enthusiast, this would make a great daily. Of course, there are pros and cons, but the pros are really good. Like, pros talaga siya. Tapos imagine if you have a solar panel array pa in your house, your gas is practically free. This car made me realize the weaknesses of internal combustion engines. Like not having a physical lump of metal idling. There's no big transmission and drive shafts and all that idly vibrating things. There's no exhaust noise. Everything's just peaceful and quiet. It's like a different genre of relaxing Sunday drive zen. But like, I'd take this to an enthusiastic drive, and this would be the car I choose when I just want to relax and feel the road and just look at all the beautiful things. So there are Sundays where you want to hear the roar of race engines, but there are also Sundays where you just want to relax and take a break, and this is the car for you. And this car will deliver that so well. And finally, what EV engines can do that ICE engines cannot. Now, you can have a really powerful EV and at the same time be efficient as well. Kasi let's say if you want an ICE engine at 300 horsepower, you need at least 2 liters of displacement plus a turbo. And when you get stuck in traffic, that's still 2 liters of It idles. It idles like a 2 liter because it is. It's impossible for a 2 liter to be as efficient as a 1.3 liter in traffic. But with EVs, you can. Actually, when I put down my foot on this car, it consumes a lot of juice. Because again, physics, for displacing a large object, 200 horsepower, 300 newton meters of torque, you really expel that much energy talaga. But, when you're in traffic, the electric motor is at 0 RPM. The only energy you're consuming is just for your auxiliaries, your aircon, your headlights, and your computers. So now ko lang na-feel yung wasted energy when an ICE engine is idling. Kasi even when you say na you're only idling at 900 RPM, you're still using more energy than you need to power the auxiliaries. So even if we do have a powerful EV on our hands, the daily consumption when you're driving it sensibly is super low. So here are some real numbers we've crunched to show you guys how efficiently this uses energy. So on a really bad day, a super traffic day, we're consuming 18 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. Actually, while doing this review nga, tingnan mo, we're only consuming 12.3 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. So that's really tipid. Kasi walang traffic ngayon, no? So really, 18 is a pretty high number already. So we're already overestimating sa lagay na to. And sa alam ko, Meralco charges you 12 point something per kilowatt hour. So let's just round it up to 13 pesos. So you only consume 2.34 pesos of electricity per kilometer. So you may be wondering, what does that look like compared to when we put it beside the gas engine? So let's say gas is at 60 pesos per liter, and a modern fuel-efficient car in heavy traffic will do 8 kilometers per liter. And with those numbers, that's 7 pesos per kilometer. You almost times 3. So again, pegging fuel at 60 pesos per liter, the cost of fueling up your Ioniq 5 is equivalent to an ICE engine that can do 26 kilometers per liter. So 200 horsepower, 300 newton meters of torque, 26 kilometers per liter. That's crazy! A pure ICE engine could never match these numbers. Yun lang, to. Syempre, malayo, hindi ko magagawa yun, di ba? Ay, pedal!
Actually, if you turn off the eye pedal and for the throttle.
No, I'm scared.
You're scared.
I don't remember how to use the brake pedal. I will do it when I get back to the gasoline car.